Harley-Davidson just dropped a bike that blends 90s nostalgia with modern muscle. This isn't just a redesign, it's a tribute to a legend. Let's break it down. Legacy of the Fat Boy. In 1990, the Fat Boy arrived as a sharp break from the norm. Harley-Davidson's lineup was full of bikes with ornate chrome and heavy embellishments, but the Fat Boy took a different route. Bold, stripped down, and muscular. Willie G. Davidson led the design, but the real spark came from a custom softail built by Duc Dufour and Denis Lavoie at a Montreal dealership in 1987. That one-off, with its slammed rear end and wide bars, made enough of an impression to get shipped to Milwaukee. It set the tone for a new kind of Harley, one that balanced heritage with a clean, modern look. The Fat Boy's silhouette was unmistakable. Its silvery gray finish, machined disc wheels, and wide stance gave it a futuristic edge. It was a deliberate move away from the flashy, busy designs of the 1980s. Harley's designers wanted something that would cut through the noise and attract a broader, younger crowd. Their inspiration wasn't limited to that Montreal softail. They also looked back to the 1949 Hydra Glide, known for introducing telescopic front forks to Harley's lineup. That mix of old and new set the Fat Boy apart. Harley-Davidson needed a statement bike in 1990. The company was still shaking off the reputation it picked up during the AMF years, when quality and reliability took a hit. The Fat Boy was their answer, a bike that looked like nothing else on the market, built to signal a new era. Harley limited the first run of the 1990 Fat Boy Grey Ghost to 4,440 units. That exclusivity made it an instant target for collectors, and it's still one of the most sought-after Harleys from that era. The name Fat Boy has always generated speculation. The most common theory is that it's a nod to the atomic bombs Fat Man and Little Boy, partly because of the bike's silver-gray paint and yellow accents. Harley-Davidson has never confirmed this, and it's mostly stayed in the realm of pop culture rumor. Still, the story added to the Fat Boy's reputation as a bike that didn't play it safe. Pop culture played a huge role in boosting the Fat Boy's legacy. In 1991, just a year after its debut, the bike appeared in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 riding the Fat Boy through LA streets became an image that stuck. Even people who had never been on a motorcycle recognized the bike. That kind of exposure turned it from a bold new model into a full-blown icon. The Fat Boy's build matched its looks. It used the 1,340 cubic centimeter Evolution engine. Smooth, reliable, and a big step up for Harley at the time. The machined disc wheels weren't just for show. They marked a real shift from traditional wire spokes, and the yellow accents on the engine tied the whole look together. At 660 pounds, it was no lightweight, but that heft became part of its appeal. The Fat Boy felt solid and planted, a cruiser that made every ride feel like an event. Collectors quickly latched onto the original Fat Boy, especially the so-called Grey Ghost. The name fit the bike's unique metallic gray finish and helped set it apart from anything else on the road. The Grey Ghost label actually goes back to a Harley single-cylinder from the early 1900s, but in 1990 it took on a new meaning. With only 4,440 of these bikes made, the first-year Fat Boy became a rare find and a status symbol among Harley fans. The Fat Boy didn't just move units, it changed how people saw Harley-Davidson. It showed the company could innovate without losing its roots, and it set a new standard for what a cruiser could be. The combination of bold design, pop culture fame, and collector status made it more than just a motorcycle. It became a reference point for American cruisers and a lasting symbol of the brand's turnaround. That's the kind of legacy Harley is tapping into with the new Grey Ghost. The original made its mark with its look and attitude, and now, over 3 decades later, Harley is reaching back to that moment in history. There's a lot riding on how they've updated the Fat Boy for today, especially when it comes to the finish that started it all. What's new in the Grey Ghost? Harley-Davidson's decision to revive the Grey Ghost centers on more than just nostalgia. It's about pushing the Fat Boy into new territory. The first thing that stands out is the finish. Instead of chrome or standard paint, Harley uses a process called physical vapor deposition, or PVD. In simple terms, they vaporize aluminum in a vacuum and bond it to the tank and fenders, creating a thin metallic layer. The result is a mirror-like surface that resists corrosion better than traditional chrome. Brad Richards, Harley's head of design, admitted the early versions weren't perfect. He once described the look as an orange dipped in chrome to Cycle World. But after working out the kinks, Harley managed to bring this finish to large parts for the first time. The Grey Ghost's reflective look is a technical achievement as much as a design statement. The engine is another major upgrade. The Grey Ghost runs on the Milwaukee-Eight 117, a 1,923 cubic centimeter V-twin that puts out 101 horsepower and 122 pound-feet of torque. That's a clear step up from the previous Fatboy 114, with about 7% more horsepower and a bit more torque. The engine uses a 2x2 exhaust system and features revised cylinder heads, intake ports, and combustion chambers to improve both performance and fuel economy. Oil is routed from a frame-mounted cooler through the cylinder heads, which helps keep engine heat in check, something you notice most in slow traffic or on hot days. Harley has put real effort into making sure the Grey Ghost delivers both power and practicality, not just a big number on a spec sheet. Riding the Grey Ghost feels different from earlier Fatboys, mostly because of the modern electronics. The bike comes with selectable ride modes, road, rain, and sport, so you can tailor the throttle and traction to match the conditions. Safety tech like cornering ABS, traction control, and drag torque slip control are now standard, making the bike more forgiving if you push it or run into trouble. These features bring the Fatboy into the current era, where even classic cruisers are expected to offer more than just raw metal and muscle. Suspension changes are another place where Harley has moved forward. Up front is a 49mm dual-bending valve fork, and in the back you get a hydraulically adjustable monoshock. This setup is a big improvement over the older, heavier suspensions. The ride is smoother and more controlled, especially when you're cornering or hitting rough pavement. The Grey Ghost keeps the wide, planted stance that made the Fatboy famous, but delivers handling that's sharper and less tiring over long distances. Design details on the Grey Ghost pay direct homage to the 1990 original. The Lakester wheels echo the solid disc look that set the first Fatboy apart, but with a cleaner, more modern finish. Yellow accents on the rocker covers and timing cover are a subtle nod to the bike's roots, while the three-dimensional tank badge updates the straight-wing logo for today. The leather tank strap and seat, complete with precise stitching, tie the look together and connect back to Harley's heritage. The fenders are sleeker, and the seat has been reshaped for comfort and style. These changes make the Grey Ghost look current, without losing the attitude that defined the first model. Comfort has been a focus, especially for longer rides. The rider seat is deeper and more supportive, and the passenger seat is wider and thicker than before. Harley even added metallic detailing around the seat, a small touch that links back to classic models. These tweaks don't just look good. They make the bike easier to live with, whether you're riding solo or with a passenger. It's a reminder that limited edition doesn't have to mean impractical. Production numbers add another layer of appeal. Harley is capping the Grey Ghost at 1,990 units worldwide, a deliberate reference to the 1990 debut. Each bike gets a serialized tank console, so owners know exactly where their bike fits in the run. It's a subtle way to build exclusivity without feeling forced, and it gives collectors a reason to pay attention. The Grey Ghost isn't just a reissue. It's a careful mix of past and present. Harley-Davidson has blended iconic design cues with modern tech and engineering, making the bike more than just a tribute. It's a move that says Harley still knows how to update its classics for today's riders, without losing sight of what made them special in the first place. Harley's target audience and design intent. Harley-Davidson's approach with the Grey Ghost is clear. This isn't just a design exercise, it's a calculated move to speak to both ends of its rider spectrum. Brad Richards, Harley's vice president of design, summed it up when he described the original Fatboy as an effort to modernize Harley's post-war DNA for a new generation, keeping the core of what made those early bikes iconic, but stripping it down to fit the tastes of a changing era. The Grey Ghost uses that same playbook, but the stakes are higher and the audience more complex. For seasoned riders, the Grey Ghost is a direct line back to 1990. These are the people who remember the first Fatboy making waves, who might have owned one or still have old photos of it in their garage. The metallic finish, the serialized number plate, and the subtle callbacks to the original design are all there to trigger that sense of history. Harley knows these buyers aren't just looking for a motorcycle. They're after a piece of the brand's legacy. Priced at $25,399, the Grey Ghost sits well above the standard Fat Boy, which only adds to its appeal for collectors. Exclusivity, limited production, and the right heritage cues combine to make this bike a status symbol for those who value Harley's past. But that's only half the story. Harley can't build its future on nostalgia alone. The other side of the Grey Ghost's target audience is younger riders, people who may not remember the original Fat Boy, but are looking for something that stands out. For them, the bike's technology matters just as much as its looks. Selectable ride modes, cornering ABS, and drag torque slip control aren't just nice-to-haves, they're expected. These features are Harley's way of signaling that it's not stuck in the past. Younger riders, especially those familiar with brands that push tech, want confidence and control along with style. The Grey Ghost delivers on both fronts, showing that Harley can blend classic form with the kind of function new riders demand. This split focus is what makes the Icons collection strategy work. Harley isn't trying to please everyone with the Grey Ghost, but it is being deliberate about who it wants to attract. Richards has pointed out that the original Fat Boy wasn't about being flashy. It was about celebrating simplicity and modernizing tradition. The Grey Ghost follows that same idea, but adds layers for today's market. The wide Lakester wheels, updated yellow engine accents, and the three-dimensional tank badge all help bridge the gap between old-school appeal and modern expectations. The price point is a big part of the story. At $25,399, the Grey Ghost is not meant for first-time buyers or those just looking for a weekend cruiser. It's a premium product, and Harley knows it. But that's the point. Exclusivity is part of the experience. For collectors, it's an investment tied to the limited run and the Icons collection branding. For younger buyers, it's a chance to own a Harley that feels different from anything else on the road, both in terms of looks and technology. Harley-Davidson is at a crossroads. It has to protect its heritage, but it also has to make sure it's not left behind as the market changes. The Grey Ghost is a test of whether the company can do both at once, honor its legacy and stay relevant to a new generation of riders. The approach is careful but clear. Don't just rely on history, but don't ignore it either. The result is a bike that feels intentional, not accidental. And that's what gives it weight in Harley's current lineup. This approach isn't just about selling a limited edition motorcycle. It's about shaping how Harley's history and future come together, and what that means for the brand's next moves. Why it matters. When you look at the Icons collection, you see Harley-Davidson's plan laid out plainly. Each release isn't just a nod to the past. It's a way to pair heritage with modern upgrades and see how the market responds. The Fat Boy Grey Ghost, marking 35 years since the original, fits this approach exactly. Harley has capped production at 1,990 units worldwide, a deliberate choice to connect back to the 1990 debut. This kind of scarcity is intentional. It turns the Grey Ghost into more than just a motorcycle. It becomes a collector's item, and that's a big part of the draw. The limited run isn't just about bragging rights. Harley is using the Icons collection as a test bed for what works and what doesn't when it comes to premium nostalgia. The Grey Ghost stands out because it blends the familiar silhouette and finish of the original Fat Boy with features that matter to today's riders. The PVD metallic finish, serialized tank console, and subtle yellow accents all play into a sense of exclusivity and history. At the same time, the bike's modern tech, ride modes, cornering ABS, and improved suspension shows that Harley isn't just looking backward. Collectors will notice the details. The unique serial number on each tank console increases the bike's value and appeal, while the $25,399 price tag signals its place as a premium offering. This isn't lost on longtime fans who remember the impact of the original Fat Boy. For them, the Grey Ghost is a tangible link to the brand's most recognizable era. But Harley is also watching how new buyers respond. The Icons collection, and the Grey Ghost in particular, are meant to see if there's real appetite for limited edition, heritage-based models that don't sacrifice modern performance. The use of the Grey Ghost name is another calculated move. It's not just about the metallic finish or the nod to the 1990 model. The name itself reaches further back, connecting to Harley's early 20th century history and silent race bikes. That kind of layered meaning gives the bike an identity that's hard to duplicate. It's a subtle way to create emotional resonance, both for those who know the backstory and for those who just want something that stands out. What's clear is that the Grey Ghost isn't only about nostalgia. It's about seeing how far Harley can stretch its legacy while staying relevant. The Icons collection is a series of experiments, each one asking if there's a future in blending old-school appeal with new-school expectations. The Grey Ghost is a high-profile test case. If it succeeds, you can bet Harley will keep refining this formula, offering more limited runs that celebrate the past while pushing into new territory. So, does the Grey Ghost live up to the hype, or is it just another collector's edition? That's where your opinion comes in. What do you think of the Grey Ghost? Iconic or overhyped? Let us know below, and subscribe for more deep dives on the machines that move us.